Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining Sandra P's GenXtra. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're here in the live, please click the like button. I appreciate that. If you are already a subscriber, thank you so much for being a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber, watch a little bit and then go ahead and subscribe. And this is Sandra P's GenXtra, where we get any kind of topic from my unique Generation X perspective, seasoned with my own background, personality, upbringing, life experiences, etc., etc., etc. I need to write that down. I don't have a real intro. It changes all the time. So thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for joining Sandra P's GenXtra. Thank you to all my new subscribers. I'm chugging along. I'm chugging along. I'm growing slowly but surely, which I appreciate because I know all the subscribers and I appreciate every subscriber. Team Replay, you know how I feel about you. Thank you, Team Replay. So if you watch the video after I have already gone live, thank you for that. I appreciate that. You see the backdrop. That is President Barack Obama. I'm laughing because I know everybody misses him. They even miss Michelle, even though she's over here on YouTube, and they used to drag her when she was in her unpaid job at the White House. They were terrible to Michelle. She's over there laughing with her brother, meeting with her celebrity friends, and just having the time of her life. I love it for both of them. I saw somebody with a t-shirt on the other day talking about Obama 2028. Y'all better get out of here with that. Leave that man alone. He served his time. He's living his best life, and I love it. Welcome in to one of my moderators, Mama Bees. Thank you so much for joining the live. Sharon Gobble, one of my A1 Day ones. Thank you so much for joining the live. Thank you all for coming in while I am live. And thank you, of course, Team Replay. I was just laughing about forever president, everybody's favorite president, Barack Obama. Not everybody's, but even the ones that hated him, they have to admit, y'all know y'all were living good. It was a recession when that man first took office and everybody was doing well. Because I remember real estate market had crashed. The automakers were in trouble. They came before Congress with the hat in hand. Some of them were begging. Ford didn't, because Ford was there, but they weren't begging. Ford was the only one to not take a bailout. And I remember because I still am a Ford investor. For various reasons, I probably should have gotten out years ago, but I just always like Ford stock. I love, they send those big books out. I never went to a meeting, but I just always enjoyed them as a company. And the stock is like slow and steady. But when they went before Congress, they were the only ones that were there not begging for money. I remember some of them came in a private jet, and Elizabeth Warren, Senator Warren from Massachusetts, she had to eat them up. She's like, you better come hat in here. Don't come in here like that. Those are the good old days. Now, nothing shocks me. I would be surprised to see almost anything. So we got a little bit of political discourse this morning. We're smiling with Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. I'm so glad they got out. I hope they would never, ever, 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 even if it were legal or not, against the Constitution, for someone to come back and serve a third term, which the reason why they said Obama 2028 was because the Orange Cloud has the nerve to be floating Trump 2028, as if he's going to make it through this term. Yeah, we see them cankles. They'll never be. He was special. Did that job with dignity, grace, intelligence, compassion. When I used to get so mad at Barack Obama is when he would be trying to include everybody. And he would be talking to people as if, let me give an example. When he was trying to do universal health care and they didn't want it. The Republicans hate universal anything that can help everybody, they hate it. So he had a meeting and they gave him the health care bill was huge. And they didn't read it. I remember, I forgot his name, Eric somebody. He was this little pencil neck, glasses, little punk. I could not stand him, but he was one of the senators at that time. And he was questioning, and Barack Obama he was talking to them as if they were peers. He's the president. They're senators and congressmen. Now, they don't report to him. I don't like the way Trump does that. They don't report to them. They're three co-equal branches of government. But he was just answering their question, knowing, and I'm sitting there knowing, I was yelling at the TV, they're never going to vote for what you want. So they watered down the bill to the point We did get health care, but we didn't get universal health care. So I used to get really mad at him when he would talk to people and engage the people that hated him. I was one of the people going, ram it all through. F these people. It's going to be for their own good and they don't care. So what are you doing? So that means you're a pretty good person when the worst thing about you is that people that support you are upset that you're not mean enough. And he wasn't mean enough. And I know he has regrets now that he would work with people that didn't really work with others. So I miss Barack and Michelle Obama, even though I can see Michelle Obama anytime I want on YouTube. So let's see, let's go through some of these topics. The thumbnail, I had South Korea on the thumbnail because they sent a jet for their people. Y'all see that idiot down in Georgia? It's one of the usual suspects, one of the 53%. She called ICE to the Hyundai factory, and they were looking for, rumor is they were looking for 4 Mexican workers that might not have had all their paperwork together. We don't know if that's true or not. ICE gets there, and because they're dumb, and I think there are a lot of January 6th pardoned people amongst ICE, that's just my opinion. ICE gets there. Let me run a banner. They ended up putting like 400 people in cuffs, y'all. Engineers, trainers, South Koreans. If you're looking for 4 Mexicans, how you end up with 400 South Koreans? So now this fool and his administration has offended South Korea. But the one thing I love, Brian Kemp is a Republican governor. So that's really going to hurt his state. Remember how he stole that election from Stacey Abrams with the help of Fat Mike. I can't stand him. Y'all know that rapper Killer Mike. I cannot stand him. He only rolls out every 4 years and he starts dogging Democrats. And I'm no Democrat fan. I'm not. I just vote for what I know won't hurt the most people, and it's usually the Democrats. So that's where I stand with that. But Killer Mike and people like him, Ice Cube, certain ones, you're only going to see them every 4 years. They talk that little bit of nonsense. You don't know where they stand. And then when things get rough, you don't hear from them again. So Georgia's getting ready to hurt. So in the story, South Korea sent a jet for their people. Let me pull it up and just read a little bit more about it. Okay, South Korea sent a plane for workers detained in the U.S. immigration raid. So the thing about this, oh, wow. Oh, yeah, the thing about this is that the South Koreans, they don't bother anybody, and they are really focused on respecting others and being respected. So this is not only an international incident, I think it's going to have dire financial repercussions to Georgia and to the country. So I'll just read a little bit about it. It says Korean Air, that's South Korea's flagship carrier. They win a lot of awards. I pay attention to the airline industry because that's my chosen industry of about 20 years after I left financial field. But South Korea's flagship carrier, Korean Air, said on Tuesday they operated a flight to Atlanta to repatriate the workers because our big dumb ICE, the January 6th pardon people, what they end up doing, they try to send people all over the place. Now, we know that the people are South Korean. They probably will end up in Uganda or somewhere because that's how ignorant these people are. And they do a lot of petty type stuff. So they're sending a Boeing 747-8. I know that's right. U.S. immigration authorities on Thursday detained about 475 people. Y'all, I underestimated. I said 400. 475 people at the site of the $4.3 billion Hyundai Motor Group Energy Solution joint venture in Bryan County, Georgia. About 300 of those swept up in the raid with South Korean nationals. So that's where it comes in that they are actually sending their plane to get their people. This is the part I like, y'all. The raid has provoked outrage in South Korea, which has poured billions of dollars in investment into the U.S. in recent years and ranks among Washington's closest allies in Asia. So if anything will get these idiots to sit up and see that this dementia-riddled, cackled orange clown is destroying this country, robbing everybody blind, where's the South African? If these senators and congresspeople don't see what's going on after this, because the money usually speaks, we'll see what's going to happen. So we have the South Korean Minister of Foreign Affairs, Chu Han. He called the detention of his countrymen a grave situation. So they're not playing, y'all. There's protests and everything about it. The picture that I was able to pull from online that was on my thumbnail, people were holding up signs in Korean, and well, no, it wasn't Korean. It actually said, no one is illegal. Because these people, these engineers, these trainers, of course, they had all their paperwork together. So the lady that called, I can't stand Killer Mike either, Mama Bees. I cannot stand Killer Mike. I'll be going through the comments and we'll just be having our discussion. Oh, let me actually go back to what Sharon was saying. Yes, that's what made me upset with him. He wanted to include people that were obviously against him. Yes, Sharon, I'm one of those people. Dance with the one that brought you. So that's the thing. And that's why Barack Obama didn't get a lot of the things done that we wanted him to get done for the people that elected him. Because the orange clown, I tell you what, he tried to do things for the maggots. I mean, it hurts the maggots, but he does try to do for the maggots, even when he told them mass deportation on day one. And they were like, well, not me. Even though some of them are married to Latinos and Asians and all that kind of stuff, he does try to work with them. And I'm also with Mama Bees. I can't stand Killer Mike. He is so disingenuous. Now he's talking about a black bank. Okay, so she's saying use creative ways to spell certain words. Thank you, Mama Bees. Mama Bees is moderating. Oh, because of Fat Mike. Okay, that's right. That makes sense. And then she adjusted. Killer Mike is a straight up fool, nothing but a clown. He is. He's nothing but a fool. They have already repatriated the people. Go ahead. Welcome in, CC. CC is my moderator. She has come in for our political discourse. They have already repatriated their people. I love it, Mama Bees. That's what I'm talking about. When you got money and you're trying to help somebody, because they could put that plant anywhere. Actually, they probably could and would put it in Mexico. Because I don't think Mexico would have a problem welcoming in those engineers and those trainers. And then that lady, that dummy that was running for office that called on them, she's trying to be kind of a Bobo or a 6B, Marjorie Taylor Greene. She is not smart. They see these government jobs, these elected jobs, and they can't wait to get up there. And they're really not fit to do anything else. They just need to convince people dumber than them to elect them. And then they never want to leave those jobs because they hate government. They think it's evil, but they all want that government job. They've always been like that. Everybody's speaking to Cece and welcoming her in. Okay, and then this is what the fool was saying. Trump tried to issue a warning. He didn't write this. I could already tell. Please respect U.S. immigration law while insisting that foreign investment was welcome. When you fly here, you actually can't get into the country on like a bad paperwork or anything like that. A lot of the things that they look for people on are overstays. So you overstay your visa. But with this plant, their paperwork was in order. They just started working in that plant. So this Orange Clown is stupid. And that lady that reported them is even worse. And then he's saying, what we ask in return is that you hire and train American workers. Together, we will all work hard to make our nation not only productive, but closer to unity than ever before on Truth Social platform. He has to speak on Truth Social because he gets so many jeers and disgusting comments when he's in any other forum other than his bubble. He has to speak on Truth Social. That's number one. Number two, how can he demand or ask that another country train American workers? Have you seen the U.S. education system? A lot of people are not literate, smart enough, or hardworking enough, in my opinion, to take these jobs. I'm sorry, they're just not. I don't care, especially where that plant is located. I don't buy it for a second. Let me see what CC is saying. CC is saying the South Korean public is pissed with America for the treatment. Hyundai employers should have all their proper paperwork, but they didn't have to raid and film it like that, all for disrespect. Yes, CC, if there's anything that wasn't correct or if there was an overstay, which I don't think they were long enough on the project to have any of that, there's certainly a better way to handle it than putting all them people in cuffs and treating them like criminals. And I'm sorry, bad paperwork or no paperwork or overstay, that's not that you're doing something illegal. I see a lot of headlines when someone that doesn't have their paperwork together does something. It's like, oh, illegal immigrant committed this crime. Yeah, it is terrible that the crime was committed, but the illegal immigrants, they have the numbers. They commit crimes at a lesser rate than native-born Americans, and that's a fact. The one group that's always pointing on everybody else to talk about crime, they're the most criminal element. They just don't serve the same time, and they're not under the same scrutiny, but we know what the deal is. Is there a rule where foreign companies have to hire a minimum percentage of Americans? If not, there should be. I've never heard of that kind of rule, CC. But I know that is numbers that they do, because when I was in financial services industry, they used to post like some of the tech jobs, anything in IT, they would post those for a certain amount of time, and then they would claim we're not finding enough Americans even with internally to hire. And then they would start, you see some of the Indian people that would come in, and then they would be so-called training people, but I think they didn't really want to train American workers because they wanted those jobs. But it's because there's a deficiency in American, a lot of the schools, science and also math. And we know where that started. That started with No Child Left Behind, when it started going more toward testing and focusing on testing instead of reading, writing, and arithmetic. Like I came up with. I'm very literate. I've been reading since I was 3 years old. I have older brothers and sisters, so it's something that they would teach me and my younger sister for fun, and we enjoyed it. We'd go to the library. We had a library card since we could write. That was the only thing you had to do was sign your little name, and you can get a library card. But now I'm finding out nobody likes to read anymore, and it's scary because people are so dumb. They're on their phone all the time. They're just click, 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 and that's all people do. And as a country, we're kind of dumbed down. It's kind of scary. I was talking about, and I did a live on Unknown Number, the documentary over on Netflix. And those kids, the school was K through 12, and they were in school from pre-kindergarten until the 12th grade, the same school. And they were like, well, our only source of really the entertainment, the only thing to do is a small town. Everybody's on their phone. And I'm like, they don't put on plays and stuff. We used to do all kinds of stuff. I mean, I grew up in Yonkers. Yonkers is not a small city by any means, but this was the 70s, 80s. We put on plays. You'd have to memorize stuff. We'd have just all kind of stuff. We didn't have like it is now. You just click, 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 and bullying people online. It's just crazy. Sharon agreed with Cece. Yeah, there should be some kind of, and I'm not sure that there's not. I believe there is, but a lot of these companies, they'll try for a while, and then if and a lot of things, a lot of these clear men, they're not qualified for a lot of stuff. What they've specialized in at the past, they get a certain position. They'll put certain people under them, and that's the one, the worker bee, that's the one doing all the work. In financial services, that's all I ran into. And my best managers were the ones that could just get out of my face and let me cook. I don't need you chasing me. I promise I'll make you look good. I don't need you chasing me, because you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're doing. I can't tell you how many of them I've had behind closed doors, and they're like, okay, because they're speaking to an irate client usually by the time it got to them. And they're behind closed doors. Okay, let me know what's going on. What do I say? And scared because they don't know what they're talking about. And I relish that. I don't let them know I relish it, but I'll let them know, okay, this is what's going on. She's upset because her bond fund XYZ. And I'm telling him what to tell her. So the person would get on the phone with him, or sometimes if they came into investment center, it's in person. And the manager would get in front of them, and you could tell they're terrified. But because the person presents a certain way, they actually believe that he knows what he's talking about. I'm talking about a certain demographic. The ones that have taken all of these positions that were supposed to be DEI hires. We were the DEI hires, the Black women, but we're the ones that actually know the job and do the work. So Mama B says, my son-in-law is a high-ranking manager at the State Department. They laid him off with pay for 3 months. They had to hire him back for his expertise. What a waste of taxpayers. Paid 3-month vacation. We knew that was happening, Mama Bees. I said, the way they are firing people so quickly, like when Doge was in there, when the South African was up there with that chainsaw and they were laughing about it and doing all of that, I'm like, this is too quick. It's too much. I knew that they were going to have to do some rehiring. My fear, especially with RFK's agency, the health and human services, so much damage can be done in such a short amount of time with the way he's attacking vaccines. Florida, a whole state, doesn't want the kids to have to require a vaccine before they go to school. And you know what they're counting on? They call it herd immunity. Those of us that do believe in vaccines and the kids do get vaccinated are supposed to kind of look out for everybody else, these ones that don't believe in it and don't even know why. So that is the part that's scary. They're trying to undo a lot of the stuff quietly because they don't want to look stupid, and they've wasted money. That whole thing, fraud, waste, and abuse, they're actually spending more money. And now he's actually driven us into a recession. I can look at the indicators. I know what it is. We're already in a recession. This is one of my other stories. Okay, let me see. Mama Bees. 10 of my colleagues took the fork in the road back in March, April to go home and get paid to do nothing until September 30th. I agree, a waste. Yes, you see, I was nervous about that because I didn't know if they would actually get their money. I hope they do get their money and then get called back. And the ones that want to go back can go back. Because we really, I mean, we voted how we voted. We tried to do the right thing. Others thought they were doing something smart and cute, meanwhile hurting everybody. And really, they got the country in a whole pickle. They do. But the people that want their job back, I hope they are able to get it back. It costs more money. And we haven't even begun to see what's going to happen. As I said at the beginning, I don't think Orange Clown Cankles, I don't think he's making it through. Look at him. He looks terrible. That's another one of my stories. Every time he's out in public now, he's being booed. And that hits him where he lives because he wants to be liked. He wants to be loved. And nobody, even his own people don't like him. Did you see his granddaughter? I didn't know who the girl was, but then I looked at it. I said, that looks like Ivanka. And not Ivanka. What's the daughter's name? Ivana was the ex-wife that he buried on his golf course. Ivanka is the daughter. Jared is her father. Jared was pushing this little girl toward her grandfather, which is the president. He was trying to like reach out, touch her or whatever. She wouldn't even look at him. She's trying to make her father go over there. And I can't stand Jared, y'all. He wouldn't even sit next to that funky fool. So later on, I saw a picture of him. Thankfully, the granddaughter got to sit behind him because she didn't want to sit next to him. You see how he used to pin Ivanka down in his lap and everything? I don't put nothing past that man. You saw that nasty letter he sent to Epstein. He's on that list. I meant 10 of my colleagues took. Yeah, we can tell, CC. Sometimes if you're typing fast or even if there's some type of change, we can still tell what it was. Yeah, 10 of your colleagues took the fork in the road. Yeah, it's insane. I agree with Mama Bees. The whole situation is scary. And we told them, even back during the election, when we told them, and then we woke up November 5th and saw what these people had done and saw the exit polls, and they were kind of scared at the time too. It can't be that bad. And I'm like, it could be worse. It can actually be worse. And I think it will be. Cece said, if the Lord aligns with my wishes, I win the lotto soon and they offer the fork in the road in October, and then I'll do a bye tour. If the Lord aligns with your wishes, CC, maybe we'll split it. You're going to be both. Sharon says, RFK is such an embarrassment. I know his family wishes he would change his last name. He never will. That's his clout. That's his clout. They told us before he got in. A bunch of Kennedys were on a letter saying he's not qualified. He's one of the worst Kennedys. I don't really believe in that curse because it should have got him. No, I take that back. I can't put a curse on nobody. But there have been young Kennedys that have been lost for a lot less. And he's just someone, he's done so much damage. You see, he killed a bunch of American Samoans, scaring them about the vaccine. And they said when he left American Samoa, there were people there that were also against vaccines, and they felt bold enough to speak out on it. And a lot of people lost their life from measles. Y'all, measles have been eradicated or made non-life threatening for so many decades. And now kids are dying of measles again because of this food. Terrible. Oh my God, did you see him boo him to his face in DC yesterday? Too funny. Yeah, he tried to go out to eat. He said it's safe to go out to eat now. DC is a foodie city. It's been safe to go out to eat. He is a liar. Yeah, they try to, they don't want people to know like that he's being booed and he's hated, but we do know that. It happened to him at the US Open. And then they had a letter to the people or a little text memo. Don't mention that the president's getting booed. But Sky TV is Australia. It's also in the UK. They were like, wow, Trump's getting a lot of boos. And then they said, oh, the people are mad because it started a little late because of extra security. Like, no, they just don't like him. Even here in this country, they don't like him. So Rolex sponsored it and allowed him to come out. But everywhere he goes, he gets booed so loud. Yeah, he got booed at dinner. A couple of months ago, I had Barack Obama and Michelle at dinner. They came down the stairs in one of those DC restaurants. And the patrons just were screaming, yelling, ovation, and we love you, we miss you. And Trump wants that. Same thing happened at a basketball game. They didn't say his name. They just put it up on the Jumbotron. The crowd went crazy everywhere they go. Because President Obama, love or hate, that man did his job. He did it with dignity, and he made the country look better than we were as a country. That's just how I feel about it. Sharon's laughing. Yeah, poor thing. Poor Cankles. Do y'all think that's elder abuse? Even if I can't stand a senior like the president, he calling Joe Biden all types of old. Joe living his best life. I saw him eating ice cream in public the other day. He was just grinning and trying to lick. trying to lick the cone. But I don't know. I don't want to see a senior mistreated. He's terrible though. I'm glad that he gets booed, but I don't know. They shouldn't have him out in public like that. CC, I saw a YouTube short showing the parallels of 47 and RFK. It's like they've lived the same life and are the same person. It's scary. Yeah, I think maybe that's why he let him be the head of his department, because he has no medical background. No medical, I don't understand that. I remember one time there was a surgeon general. It was a Black woman, and they didn't want her because she was a little chubby. This lady was a doctor, and they didn't, I forgot who nominated her. It might have been Clinton. They didn't want her because she was chubby. And the senators, you know how disrespectful they are. Don't you think the Surgeon General should reflect this, that, and the other? And then they have the nerve to put someone over a cabinet department overseeing health, Department of Health. And this man has a brain worm. He said he had been on heroin for over 20 years. I don't believe he stopped. And what's going on in his voice? I think the worm went to his throat. Ugh, I hate him. That's why Trump disliked Obama so much, in my opinion. Mama Bees, I think so too, that he's beloved. The man's beloved. And the farmers, the way they crying now, when they used to go before President Obama, he was giving them subsidies. That's another thing I used to hate. The white farmers are always begging. And then when the Black farmers get a little bit of something after being discriminated against for so many years, losing their farmland over decades, and just trying to make $1 out of 15 cents, the Black farmers, even when they win a little something, the white farmers will go up there, no, us too. What about us? Us too. Us too. Now they're crying again, even though they voted for this fool over 60-something%, and some states even higher. So yeah, Trump dislikes Obama because he's jealous. Sharon said it's not bad to feel like it's elder abuse. No, he's a terrible person. He don't have full dementia. I think it happens at night. Toward the end of my mom's life, but she was 93. This fool I think he just turned 80, but he's in terrible shape. And I think he understands, like when they're booing him and stuff. It wasn't a late dinner. So I think he still knew what was going on. Like, oh, they really hate me. Because that's in person, bro. You can't say that we are like putting booze or the fake media or any, you can't say that. It's in person. They're booing you. They hate you. He has the crack pipe voice, in my opinion. Yeah, there's something going on. There's something that has gone on in the past, is still going on. And as we know, at least for me watching Law and Order and then overhearing things, once people start like a slippery slope of certain drugs that they start taking or they're interested in, when they're in that tight crowd and in the life, they may have their preference, but if somebody is getting high, they will do like almost anything within that moment, especially if they don't have their drug of choice. So I believe that about him. I don't know if he was on crack or not. There's something going on with him. You remember he killed that bear? He killed a bear. He killed a bear cub in New York. He hit it, put it on top of his car because he's going to bring it home. His kids were in the car. His kids to this day describe him rolling the windows down and like bear juice and blood and stuff getting on him. He was taking a bear home for some reason, and then he remembered they had somewhere else to go. Y'all, this fool, RFK, he left the bear, RFK Jr., in Central Park. And it was a big mystery. It was on all of the big dailies every day, like, who left this bear cub in Central Park? It was terrible. You remember that, Sharon? Yeah, he terrible. Just a mess. Mama 59 Works is in here. That's my sister and one of my moderators. Thank you. Oh, she said, I'm sorry. I don't feel sorry for him at all. DJT or RFK Jr., they both are sorry, not so bright, cheating off people's paper frauds. No apologies. Yeah, she took it way back. My sister's very literate. She's working at school right now. She says she feel like they cheat off people's paper. Cheated off people's paper. Cece's laughing, not to see pipe voice. Yeah, there's something going on with him. Seriously. Yeah, cheating off people's paper. That I take personal offense to that. I was never a cheat. I used to get cheated off of because I didn't care. I knew you didn't know it anyway. Go ahead and copy. And the teacher, one time she knew, the lady, I misspelled, I can't remember exactly what it was about, but I misspelled something. And the person had, I want to remember what it was because, pneumonia. There was somebody died of pneumonia. And I put it in, I used to write quickly. I put it in there as a new ammonia. And the person, the idiot that had copied my paper, it's like a book report or something. She did the same thing. And the teacher was reading it and she was stuck because she would just give us like a quick, if you did it an A or she tried to read through it, if you didn't do anything, you were going to fail. And she was like, I'm so tired of people cheating. And one day they're going to get caught. She's looking directly at the girl who had cheated because she read mine, corrected, laughed about new ammonia and like corrected it real quick. And then she's reading the other person's paper and her face like sunk. I'm so tired of people cheating. She said, it doesn't matter. They didn't read the book anyway. And she says, one of these days they're going to get caught. You know, teachers, they're just older versions, of course, of the students. So, and the girl she's kind of like a dumb jock. I don't use those terms, but she was kind of a dumb jock. And if she didn't have her work, then she couldn't play ball, you know. I shouldn't have let her cheat. Okay. Didn't he eat the bear meat, which gave him the brain worm? Yeah, he's so weird. Also, CC, he swims in sewage. He had his kids doing that because he thinks it does something to like build up his system. And so he wants to go back to olden times in certain ways. And he's unclean to me. You can't convince me he washed his legs. I bet he smells like a sewage pipe himself. Oh, he admitted it? I didn't know that, Mama Bees. Okay. So if he did it once, he did a lot more than that. Mama 59 Works came in and spoke to everyone. Yeah, she had to get that comment off your chest about cheating off the paper. She's speaking now. Cece said, wow. Yeah, I believe it. You could admit to anything. You got a Supreme Court justice done SA'd a girl in his school, drunk as a skunk, trying to run a train on the child. She crying about it, remembers it 40 years later. He's sitting up there crying, I like beer. You know he did that. Brett Kavanaugh, Justice Kavanaugh, he did that. He did it. And this latest ruling, I thought Justice Roberts was better than he is. Mama Bees or CC told me they saw a photo of him, something about Epstein Island, something. But now I'm inclined to believe that he's on the list too. Some of the courts on the list as well. Absolutely. This is crazy. CC, you can Google it. I have to look that up. I knew about the bear. I didn't know he had admitted to being a part of that Sea Academy. I didn't know that. Cece said, I had someone try to cheat off me in high school. I put down wrong answers. And I changed everything before I turned it in. I passed. And they wonder why they did not. Do your own work. Cece's the worst nightmare. You're petty with time, okay? You're petty and you have time. I didn't really care because, like I said, the girl was a dumb jock. I don't know. I didn't really care about the school's academic, not academic, but basketball record or what. I don't know. It didn't bother me. She was like, I didn't read the book. Can I get off your paper? Because something about if she had failed that quiz, she couldn't play something. But Cece had the nerve to let somebody copy, put the wrong answers down, and then the time, you have to be smart to finish early enough to do that. The time to change everything before she turned it in. And the person's so dumb, they still didn't catch it. They didn't catch on. I like that, Cece. That is so funny. Call me Petty Betty. I'm an Aries. I do have the time. That's right. She said she'll admit to it. Petty LaBelle. I know that's right. I can't argue with that, Cece. That's funny. Yeah, do your own work. But the scary thing is everybody in that cabinet, when I look around that table now, even when you see them in these hearings and they're asking questions, a lot of them are just not equipped to do the job. They're not. And he was sitting there just arguing back, how are you, and talking over people. He didn't look like he understand what he was talking about. And I think a lot of these people that support that, I don't think they would want him around themselves, their children, any of that. I just don't. Okay, y'all, we had a few topics. So the chat has determined it's not elder abuse to boo at Donald Trump. Okay, y'all, keep doing it then. Keep up the good work. RFK is a disaster who should never been confirmed. We had the U.S. Open, also booed at the U.S. Open. We covered the Hyundai plant. Oh, and I put down, I said, y'all voted for this. Georgia governor, they sent National Guard troops to D.C. Meanwhile, the office has said nothing yet about the Hyundai plant. Wow, that's crazy. But Georgia was awarded a new ICE detention center. Y'all, there's a lot of money in that. Now, Florida's having to close down that alligator Alcatraz. One of the Indian tribes had some kind of lawsuit about that land. Y'all, the Native Americans, they might be the ones to save this country. Because right now, the 92%, usually it's us, but we just looking at you. Let me find this other picture. How I pictured the 92% just looking at them. I had a cute one. Nope, I don't feel bad at all about what's going on. And they said, well, what about y'all? You're all in it together. Everybody's going to suffer. And it's like, we've been suffering. We know how to eat beans and rice. You the one scared. We never scared. Because, and they said, you're next. No, we're first. We're always first. So I don't worry. I can't find it. I had a cute picture too. So my girl Angel just sitting back chilling. I used her on a thumbnail not long ago. All right, let me get back into these comments. Sharon, she laughing about CC too. CC had time that day. I love it. And you remember in the classes, the class might be 50 minutes or an hour. The teacher might give you a half hour to test or 45 minutes. So CC's smart enough to get in there, boom, put down the wrong answers. You have to know the right answer to know the wrong answer. Put down the wrong answers and then go back, change it. They don't probably turn theirs in first because that's how ego is. You're stupid enough, you have to copy off somebody's paper, but you want to look like you doing something. So they probably hurry up, turn their paper in. CC going back. Now she's putting out the wrong answers, putting in the right ones. I know that's right. Had time. Mama 59 works. So glad I caught this live. We digress. But make sure children sign their work. Yes, I've been on that for a long time. That was another thing. My sister, she remembers. I had some of my extra work. I did something that wasn't assigned. The teacher told me that's not assigned. Go back and do. This was the assignment. Turn in the what's the name. And something I hadn't signed, and one of my classmates, I should say her name. It's an unusual name, so she'll know it's her. I used to love her, though. She was a trip. I saw her as adults, and we just hugged. I'm not going to say her name. But she signed her name to my work that was unsigned and turned it in. And the teacher recognized my handwriting, and she called us both up. And she said, whose work is this? And my friend lied in front of our face. And the teacher said, but everybody's getting the zeros. Whose work is this? And I said, I did that. And then she said, you're getting a zero. You shouldn't have let her take your work. It was a whole thing. So I've always signed my work after that. That's my older sister that knows it. Cece says, I wondered if a nationalist group or Native Americans would sue about the land alligator Alcatraz is on. Yes, Cece, they have. They have. And they have a lot of Native American lawyers. Now, they had a interior secretary. I can't remember her name, but she's Native herself. And she knows, like, she probably was the one that was on it too. But I wonder if they tried to get rid of her. That would be crazy. He had, during his first term, he had some of the, I forgot what they call them. It's some kind of talking, but they helped way back during one of the wars that the U.S. was fighting against somebody, and they needed their code and their language. And when they came in there, Orange Clown was sitting at the desk going, to the elders. And they were just looking at him. He's so disrespectful, y'all. I can't stand that man. I can't stand him. Just disgraceful, disgusting. For us to go from Barack Obama to this clown, just terrible. Okay, farmers crying. We've gone through that. Oh, no, we didn't go through that. I ranted a little bit about that, but there was actually a story. Okay, here was one of the farmers. He's the head of, okay, here it is. Caleb Ragland. He's a Kentucky farmer, and he's the president of the American Soybean Association. He's warning of an agricultural crisis. China placed 0 soybean orders. It used to be 25%. 25% of the U.S. crop would go to China. Yeah, I feel a little bad, but the majority of farmers voted for this. They were CC level petty. 0. So that in unison, China said, nobody order American soybeans. Wow. So prices are already 40% below 3-year highs, and production costs rising. Hundreds of thousands of farmers face losses unless there's a trade resolution between the two countries. You can't continually insult people and then because you're hurting, say, okay, I didn't really mean it. You would have walked over them, but now that you're hurting too, now you're going to come hat in hand begging. I don't think China's going to relent. I don't think they're going to order soybeans, at least this season. That's gone. That is totally gone. They're not going to order soybean. So the farmers are in trouble. So what they're going to need, y'all, subsidies. So meanwhile, they're cutting SNAP and everything else and trying to hurt children and seniors and all of that. But the farmers are going to be in DC begging, crying and begging and receiving welfare. Because when they get it, it's a subsidy. But when other people get it, it's welfare. So I'm not against them getting help, honestly. Even they're against other people getting help. That's why they voted the way they did. But if you go on TikTok and you put in farmers, they're in there crying. They're going crazy. But now we'll see what's going to happen. Oh, they said about future prices already reflect the uncertainty. Wow, that drives the market too. They were already talking to CNN about it. So this is a mess. I think that they're actually going to get their subsidies. Anytime the farmers ask for something, they get it, unless they're a black farmer. Mama B says, normally when we have a change in administration, the new administration changed the head of each agency. Yeah, especially this one, Mama B. And then the sad thing about it is, okay, it's all right to change them, but what he has seemed to have done have put someone, your only real qualification seems to be that you're against whatever that agency is for, like the wrestling lady, Linda McMahon over Department of Education. That sort of thing. That's crazy to me. RFK, he seems to be against health, or he looks like it, and over the Department of Health. So yeah, I'm not against your different party. You have different political views. You believe in achieving something positive for the country, but a different way. But this group of Republicans, the maggots, that's not what they're doing. He doesn't want to leave office. He wants to be a king. He's talking about adding some kind of addition onto the White House. They need to put the brakes on that. It used to be like full cleaning, the furnishings, different things like that. But as far as him and his escort being able to tear up the Rose Garden and all the stuff they were allowed to do, it's too much. CC has a bone to pick. I have a bone to pick with President Obama and his administration for allowing a Chinese company to purchase Smithfield Pork. That's the largest pork distributor in America, located in Virginia. Yes, CC, I'm against that too. I think there shouldn't be foreign ownership of certain things. I think food, honestly. And the thing is, the scary thing too, a lot of these farmers are going to lose their farmland. Guess who has a company buying up bankrupt farmland? J.D. Vance and Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel is over PayPal. I wish I were lying. Sharon Gobble said the orange man is just despicable. I'm wondering how long he could live with all of these just negative thoughts. The only people that love him are his cult. I don't think they really love him. I just think they love the fact that he seems to be able to say anything he wants, do anything he wants, and nobody ever holds him accountable. Y'all see that nasty picture he drew for Epstein's birthday? He claimed it didn't exist, and it was a Democrat hoax. It looked nasty. It's a picture of a woman's body. It's got this nasty little poem like, Jeffrey, you and I have something in common. Yeah, ha, 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 ha. And then some kind of desires never age. It was disgusting. And the breasts that he drew, it wasn't like, you know how when boys, when they used to draw like women's bodies, they'll have big breasts. He drew these little 30 double A prepubescent, just disgusting. I can barely talk about it. But yeah, the letter's true. Mama Beast is telling something that I believe. Racism is going to destroy the country. This farmers decried welfare queens, LGBTQ, and other marginalized people. Oh, they despise. Yeah, racism is going to destroy this country. Those farmers despise welfare queens, LGBTQ, and other marginalized people. Yes, so much so that they have voted against themselves. Now, if you ask them now, would you rather have Biden policy? Would you rather have Obama policy? They would scream at the top of their lungs, yes, we'd rather have that. And I would turn around and say, well, why the devil didn't you vote for it then? And they can't say what it is. We hate drag queens. Who don't bother them? Anything terrible that happened, I've never seen one bad drag queen crime. I'm sure they do stuff, but not enough, not to the degree that these RFKs and Orange Clown and them do. Yeah, it's very expensive. CC said it. It's very expensive. Okay, so that's it. The crying farmers. And you know who I bet they're reaching out to? Black farmers. Hey, y'all, let's get together and stick together and tell us how y'all got that money from that lawsuit and tell us how you made it even during the time when we were working against you. And that's the thing they used to do, run Black people off their land, harass them physically and violently, and put stuff in their crops, all kind of devilish, demonic stuff. And that's why a lot of us that are sitting back looking, we're sitting back looking because I just want to see what's going to happen with these people that have that kind of hatred toward others who do nothing to hurt anybody. We just work and do our job. Okay, that's it for the political topics. This is just a funny little nosy type topic. We have Future, Sierra's son Future that she had with Future. His last name is now Wilson, after Russell Wilson, her husband, all of her other children's father. So the Dusties are kind of upset about it. They're complaining. They keep calling Sierra bitter. I don't think Sierra's bitter. You know who I think is bitter? Future. This man is taking care of your son for all these years and not made a difference between he and Sierra's children and little Future and their children. Those are his brothers and sisters. Russell's his father, Sierra's his mother. You can't tell a difference. Future's starting to look like the both of them. He used to look just like Sierra to me, but baby Future now, he's starting to look like all of the rest of the Wilsons, his sibling, all of that. So that he's a Wilson, I love it. I don't think it's petty. Mama 59 works. That's why he can't sleep. He lies about everything. You think he's an insomnia? I think he can't sleep because of his diet too. They say all he eats is burgers and Diet Coke. And then he was telling somebody, I get to have 2 scoops of ice cream because I'm the president. No, that staff that has been there since the 40s and 50s, you get to have 2 scoops because they're trying to make you keel over. I love the White House staff. Has anybody seen that movie, The Butler? I don't like Lee Daniels, but I loved his work on The Butler. He and Oprah did that movie. And it's about the White House staff. It's Forrest Whitaker, Yaya DaCosta, David Owen. I can't remember how to pronounce his name, but he played MLK one time. The Butler. It's about the White House, behind the scenes White House staff. Those are local people. They do those jobs and they do them with dignity, and they serve every single administration, no matter the party, with dignity. I love them. I don't know if I could work with this guy. He looks like he stinks. And Melania seemed like she's so rude. I never see her smile unless she's kind of laughing at somebody. She was smiling a little bit when she had that ugly jacket on, talking about, I really don't care, do you? Imagine if Michelle had worn something like that. They used to go crazy when she had her arms out. She had some pretty arms. They're in good shape. Sandra P., I enjoyed this commentary today. Great job. Thank you so much, Sharon Gobble. I appreciate it. The political discourse, I do like to do it because, as my sister knows, I've always been tuned into that, even as a kid. It's just been so interesting to me. And our building, we used to hand out flyers during election time. The kids, and this was the projects, y'all. Cece says, I know it's off topic, but did you see New Mexico will have universal health care for all children starting in October? I think the country could have had it, but for racism and stupidity. Yeah, I don't think it's off topic because we were talking about RFK. But CC, I saw that there was a whole health consortium between some other states. I know California was one. So wouldn't that be something if blue states banded together, like the West Coast blue states? I think we're getting to that point because Trump is so openly hostile to the red state, blue state thing. The only time he wants to take over a state or do something is if it's somebody he disagrees with, like with him trying to send troops into Chicago. And he's already sent them into DC. So he's kind of testing on DC. But the blue states, they're the ones with the money. California is the number 4 economy in the world, not in the country, in the world. So if Governor Newsom ever said, you know what, the way you are doing us, we actually have our own expenses within California. And so now we're not going to send any tax money. Some of these red states will be bankrupt immediately. I think they said Kentucky, Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, the southern states, of course. They're already in real trouble. So I could see, I'm glad New Mexico did that. I heard that California either was working on or did that. You see, they were going to have to protect Kamala Harris, but it was supposed to be CHP. That's CHIPS, California Highway Patrol. You remember Ponch and John needs to be fine. But they were going to take over her security because the orange clown, he's jealous of her too, because she gets loved on in public. We love Kamala Harris, even though he cheated her out of that job, which I don't really care. But he took her Secret Service detail, which is traditional for her to continue for a certain amount of time. Gavin Newsom gave it to her through California Highway Patrol, but there were people that were against that. So now she doesn't have that security. Her and Doug pay for her own security. Luckily, they can afford it because there is political there's political violence that's going to start happening again. The one that just happened in public, they killed the lady, the husband, and her dog. Okay, already out of the news. Miss Z, hey, I didn't see you slip in. How you doing? Mom 59 Works agrees that the butler was great. It was. Miss Z, Georgia. Oh, you put Georgia to the list. Are they broke as a joke? Georgia has Atlanta, all of those big companies in Atlanta. But they got Brian Kemp. He probably stealing with both hands, allegedly, in my opinion. And we know he's in the Orange Clown's pocket. But for them to do that, I was so shocked that they allowed that to happen. Because one thing about Georgia, Atlanta at least has always been about its business, okay? They care about money. So for Georgia to allow that, I'm just curious to see what's going to happen with South Korea. But yeah, I guess they're one of the red states that could go broke as well. Another fun topic, we had Robin from Real Housewives of Potomac, formerly. She has already called out K. Michelle for being on the show, and K. Michelle snapped back at her. Let me see if I can read what she said.
Has Angel from Basketball Wives.
I don't think y'all can hear that. Okay, what Robin was doing, her and Giselle were over there talking junk about K. Michelle joining Real Housewives of Atlanta, how the show has actually gone downhill, which I agree, but I don't really care about Robin. I don't care for Robin. I don't mind K. Michelle dragging her. So K. Michelle put out a tweet, or at least she responded. She said, why be so worried about this and me? She said, I'm overly educated and successful and what I might be doing. Robin, you ran out of a job a long time ago. You'd love to be recycled, you little couch potato, just yapping. You should have ran through the hotel lobby where your husband was, lady. Giselle, you look beautiful. Leave me alone. Let me go yodel in peace. Why do people always give Giselle a pass? You know, Giselle probably put old dumb Robin up to going at K. Michelle. Y'all know what? I'm not gonna miss the people that are not there this season. I think Kenya needed a break. I'm glad Britt Edie didn't come back. I wasn't happy to see K. Michelle come. I don't know a lot about Pinky Cole, but I do look forward to seeing K. Michelle get on some of these girls. I just love it. Mama B said, I laughed so hard. K. Michelle calling Robin a couch potato. I know. She said something about she's selling out arenas and Robin just selling them bedazzled hats. K. Michelle's a mess. That's one you don't mess with. Tamar's still crying over being called a Muppet. And the way she could have ate off that, so what? You look like a Muppet poop too. You're a singing Muppet. Let's do a Muppet duet. But no, she gets over there and cries. Cece says, my state, Virginia, is considered purple. We have a Republican governor and lieutenant governor, but the state Senate and Assembly are D, small margin. We're looking to go full blue this November. The lieutenant governor is bat-ish crazy. You have Winston Sears. See, my state, North Carolina, we are red now. But when Obama was in, we rallied, and he did a lot. He had a lot of boots on the ground. He put a lot of money in the state to help organize. He won the state twice. But then when Trump ran, they were doing a lot of cheating and stuff, too. They were putting money out there, too. Trump won the state. And we had one senator, rest in peace to Kay Hagan. We had a Democratic senator. We had a Republican senator. But when Trump and them spent all that money and they turned all those numbers out, it flipped the state totally. Right now, we have a Democratic governor. We've had before, but a lot of time the margin in the state house, Republicans have this kind of a veto-proof margin, and they've done so much damage. We had a crazy lieutenant governor. He was the one that started the bathroom bill and all that crap. And the black lady, her name was Linda Coleman. I got a call from her one day. I was on my lunch break. She's like, good afternoon, this is Linda Coleman. And I was like, Linda Coleman? She was that famous. I recognized her name. She says, yes, I'm fundraising for this, that, and the other. And I'm like, she's calling me? I said, you're calling me? I couldn't believe it. And I was only able to give her like $25. So she's like, any little bit helps. But I couldn't believe she was out here fundraising like that. That's another reason why I was kind of upset with President Obama, because all of the organizing and all that kind of stuff he did, I think local campaigns like that, a seat like lieutenant governor, that ended up going to someone who had never been in politics. He was some kind of business owner. His only qualification was that he's a maggot, and that's why he won. And she lost by something like 700 votes. She lost by a really thin, razor thin margin. And I feel like if Barack Obama had kind of spread the wealth a little bit and deepened the bench a little bit, some of these states that are purple, like a Virginia, North Carolina is now, we're probably going to be red. We do have the governor is a Democrat, person running again. They're Democrat. The 2 senators are Republican, but I think the one's not running again, Tom Tillis. He was going to lose that seat, I think. He's not running again. But it's a trip. Yeah, Cece, I was praying North Carolina could remain blue. I tell you how they did it. They did a lot of cheating. Now a lot of the blue cities like Asheville, Charlotte, Asheville just really suffered with that hurricane, which we're not used to. A lot of things have not been rebuilt, and they're just slowly plugging away, doing their own thing. Because we have a Democratic governor, Kankles was saying that, he didn't really want FEMA to do anything. Matter of fact, I think FEMA came and they were trying to do something. People were shooting at them. I think it was a plant. I think it was to just scare people and that sort of thing. They were putting out false information. Like, if you accept any money from FEMA, because Biden and Harris had a fund that still had money in it. If something happens, hurricane, anything, you can get emergency funds up to X amount of dollars. And you might not have an ID or whatever, but if you can prove this was my home, this is my address or whatever, you would get the money. They act like there was fraud, waste, and abuse in that program. So I think some of the redder areas in North Carolina, I think they kind of seeing that Kankles and them don't care about them, because a lot of them are quietly taking down these signs and all of this. So we're kind of slightly pink, if not red, but I think we could be blue again. Right now, I wish we were purple, but yeah, I'm proud of Virginia. Virginia just placed congressman with a Dem. I know it was a Dem seat, but he whooped that Repub. That's good. That means the numbers are up. That's really good. Oh, she said Karen done cost us some good revenue and jobs. Yeah, she's running for a seat herself. And somebody went into her background and said she's been divorced 5 times. I only bring that up because these Republicans act like they're so Christian and all this kind of stuff. She's been divorced 5 times. She's been evicted 2 times. That means she doesn't pay her bills. She's a deadbeat and trying to run for a seat and then losing the state of whole plant. Because I don't know if South Korea, I don't know if these trainers and engineers are coming back. I don't know. And Americans just give Americans the job. No, why should they give that factory to you? What they should have done, they should have disassembled everything that was in there before they left. Like Cece probably would have done that. We found out today, Cece Petty LaBelle, she probably would have done that. Y'all, covered all the topics and getting ready to wind down. Let me see if there's anything else. I had Shut Up Robin, so that was her. Winter Wonderland. Let me know if anyone knows December 20th. I have my tickets. I will be at Winter Wonderland. So I hope to see any of Sandra P's GenXtra subscribers or just friends of the channel. Let's see. Cece says, I was so pissed with the Asheville, North Carolina area being total jerks to the Biden administration. FEMA reps trying to help and the North Carolina leadership lying, saying they were not getting help. Fast forward to 47 who said no money. Exactly, Cece. It hurt them. That's what I'm saying. Mama Bees, y'all was saying racism is expensive. It is. It is. Y'all know I had one of those little property preservation business I set up through mail. I still have my truck. I'm getting ready to sell it though. But one of the jobs I had, there were so many jobs in Asheville, but one of the last jobs I went to was about an hour outside of Charlotte. It was a private road. They were looking to see if the place was still occupied for the banquet. And I went in. I go first to kind of preview everything. I didn't have a crew with me or anything. Private road, one way in, one way out, had a big orange clown sign. I went in to the road, but I was kind of nervous. I was looking over my shoulders. It might have just been one family's property or something. I don't know. But I was just so uncomfortable. I called the people while I was on site. I said, I'll get these pictures and then I can pretty much tell you we're not going to bid this job because I'm not coming back out here with a crew. My whole crew either looked like me or they were Latino. So they cost a lot of work. They really did. Because at FEMA, they didn't get that FEMA money. And FEMA has the money. They're just not, he's holding on to it. He's not distributing it to the states. So I can understand California. Y'all know I was in California a week ago. We drove right by the sites of the fire in Malibu. A lot of construction going on. They're rebuilding. But if Governor Newsom were to say, okay, FEMA, if you're not going to give us the money for these fires, Trump came out there and governor was in his face like this. So you're not going to give us the money for these fires. We're not going to send you this money. So we had that conversation. So like Cece said, fast forward to 47, who said no. So these states, they really have to think. I had to vote yesterday, y'all. I think it was just the mayor. It was a primary. Our mayor doesn't do anything. Vi Lyles, she's non-problematic. She just doesn't do anything. I always vote the farthest left I can. I didn't vote for her in the primary. Some other guy running against her, he's not going to win. She's going to be the head of the ticket in the general, and I'll vote for her then. But I don't support the incumbent in the primary. I just don't. So we have elections. I want to see what's going to happen, especially in North Carolina. But those are all my topics, y'all. We had a few political topics, a few fun topics, funny topics. So we have all agreed in the chat that we can continue to boo and verbally harass Orange Cankles. It's not elder abuse because he's a terrible person. So we will check back in. I'd like to do political discourse maybe twice a week. And then I'll do my other recaps and things like that. Thank you for supporting Heart and Hustle. Everybody likes Heart and Hustle. If you have just come in, please click the like button. If you're not subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe. Mama B says FEMA does not have that much money left. They use FEMA money to build Alligator Alcatraz. That is a mess, Mama B's. I believe it though. And then they have to close it. Those Native Americans, they had all their paperwork in order and their ducks in a row. And they're not entitled to do that with that land. And they said if there's a bad hurricane while they have people out there, the whole place would flood. So you may be trying to drown these people that you claim don't have their paperwork together, but what about your staff? Who wants to go work there and you got that going on? You can get flooded out. So I'm glad they have to close the place. Everybody, thank you for joining Sandra P's GenXtra. Please enjoy the rest of your day. We are right here at an hour. So if your team replay, go ahead, click the like button. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already. And join me. I'll figure out which 2 days of the week. But I love the political discourse where there are people in the chat that are able to just weigh in and we discuss. Yes, CC, this was a lively chat. Have a blessed day, everyone. Thank you for joining Sandra P's GenXtra. See you in the YouTube streets. Bye.